welcome. Welcome everybody to Potty Power. I call it the Potty Power Hour because I try to get the training done in an hour so I can take questions. So I'm very excited to have everybody tonight. Welcome. Welcome to all of our moms. Welcome to some of my master classers. We're going to hop right into it because we got lots to cover tonight, and we're going to move fast through the slides. So if you don't know me, my name is Michelle. I am a autism mom and life coach. I run a program called Champions for Our Children. It's a group coaching program for parents of children with autism. And one of the number one things we solve in that program is potty training, which is exactly what you guys are here for tonight. So I'm going to be sharing all the tips and tricks I use in that program. I have a 100% success rate for anyone who joins the masterclass. So what that means is that if you join my masterclass, by the time you leave, you have a potty trained child. We've never had a child walk out of my program without being potty trained. These could be children that are level 1, 2, or 3 on the spectrum, moderate to severe, mild, you name it. I've even done adults. We've had kids from 2 years old, 10 years old, 15, 21, 31. We have potty trained it all. So if you are in the potty misery pool right now, I'm going to help to get you out with Potty Power, okay? All right, perfect. So let's just get down to some housekeeping before we get started. Number one is we disabled chat. I do that because I get distracted very easily. We have a lot to cover tonight. I want to be able to help as many people as possible when we go to live Q&A. So if you have any questions for me, you can put it into the Q&A, and I'm going to try and go through all of those questions tonight as we coach and teach. Number two, if you want to be coached live, I like to bring families up to the stage, so to speak, the Zoom stage, and teach you or, hear about your potty struggles and see if I can help you to craft a blueprint to get your child potty trained. If you are a family who would love some coaching, I want you to raise your hand. If you go to the bottom of your screen, there should be a raise hand button. If you want to be coached, I want you to raise your hand. To be coached live, meaning you have your hand raised, that means that you have good internet, you are in a quiet place, and you have a microphone and a camera. I want to bring you up, and I want us all to experience how wonderful it is to talk to each other. I want everyone to get the most out of that experience. So if you want to be coached live, I'm going to be bringing you up. You're going to be actually talking. We're all going to hear you. So I want to make sure you raise your hand if that's what you want. If you don't want that, that's what the Q&A is for. You can write your questions in there. I believe you can write them anonymously if you'd like. Okay. All right, next, we are going through these slides fast. We're going to be together for about 2 hours tonight. I know it seems like a long time, but I think I find myself to be very entertaining. And I think you will as well find this information not just informative, but I'm going to make this easy for you. I think this is so important to make potty training easy for you so that it's going to be easy for your child to absorb. So I just wanted to go over that. And then I just wanted to say that if you don't know me and this is your first experience with Michelle, welcome. You're in for a treat. I am very straightforward. I curse. I am not professionally trained. I am just a mom, I'm a mom. I'm a parent like you. Okay. All of my experience is based on the experience that I've had with my daughter. And that experience has helped me to be able to coach thousands of families, in particularly for the training of pottying. So if you're here for potty training, potty training is my jam. I'm happy to support you. This is why I created this workshop tonight. I hope you all enjoy it. So I'm going to start sharing my screen and we will get started. Let's see. Do you see my screen, Jen? Jen is here with me. She's my assistant. She's going to help with any tech questions. She's going to try and answer some Q&As as they come in as I coach. Can you see my screen, Jen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All righty. So let's get cracking with some potty power. I'll move my little thing here. I will stay co-host. Okay, here we go. Potty Power Hour. I can get it working. Here we go. You are in the right place for Potty Power Hour. If you have a child with autism or suspect autism and they need to potty train, I did that on purpose because my methods, I believe, work for all children. You are in the right place if you have a child that's mild, moderate, severe on the spectrum, level 1, 2, or 3. I also did this on purpose because there is not one child I've ever come across that I can't potty train. You're in the right place if your child is verbal or pre-verbal. They do not need to have vocal language to learn how to potty train. You're in the right place if your child has multiple diagnoses and you've tried and failed many times, welcome. We're going to help everybody out. Not only will potty training be possible, it's going to be easy, and I'm going to make it fun for you guys. This is one of the misconceptions I had about potty training. I remember telling new parents this when I was trying to potty train Juliana the first time, which, by the way, I went from potty shit show to like total potty whisperer. I could pretty much potty train anything. I've potty trained my cats, my dogs, my kids, you name it, right? So I used to say, which is a horrible thought, we're going to talk about thoughts a lot tonight, that potty training was the worst part of being a parent. And that was the exact experience I had with my daughter, Juliana. I created that with my shitty thoughts. And we're going to talk a lot tonight about shitty thoughts and how maybe we're having some shitty thoughts that are giving us the life we're living now, which is misery and in diapers. And you're here because you have some hope in you. You don't want to live this life anymore. And I love that. So I want to help you to figure out how you don't have to live this life anymore. All right, so here I have a video. Before the video, actually, I want to just talk about what we're going to go over tonight. I'm going to show you a video of our story, Juliana and mine. I could tell you what we did. Juliana was diagnosed a little over 2. She lost all of her language. We taught her sign language. She potty trained with a sign. She started making sounds and speaking. We created a beautiful video on that. I'm going to share it with you tonight. I'm going to go over my philosophy on the big 3. These are the life skills that I believe any child, no matter where they fall on the spectrum, needs to have a chance at a life of independence, and that chance increases greatly if they have the big 3. We're going to talk about the parent mindset. This is the gatekeeper to any tactical work we're actually going to do to potty training. If you don't get the mindset right, potty training will be impossible. It will not be possible if this isn't right. We're going to talk about that as well. We're going to talk about the steps to prepare for a potty training experience, and then we're going to actually talk about my process. We're going to talk about poop because the job isn't done unless they're pooping on the toilet as well. And then I'm going to tell you a little bit about working with me. If you love tonight, if you love my sauce and you want more of it, we have a masterclass. I'm going to tell you all about that as well. We're going to have a giveaway. Anyone who signed up for this program is going to get the slides tonight because I'm going to go through the slides very rapidly. So if you want to actually go back and have the slides, you're going to have them. And I'm also including my toilet training data sheet. We're going to talk a lot about this tonight. So you're all going to get this tonight in your inbox with the replay. But also, if you stay till Q&A, we're going to do a wheel of names for all the names that are still in the room. You come in, you get on the wheel of names, and we're going to give away a free session with me. And then we're going to get right to Q&A. I want to try and get to that as quickly as possible. So let's get in and watch our story. I remember when I got pregnant with my daughter, I felt so grateful and so blessed. I mean, my life up until that point had been pretty rocky. I'd had a lot of bumps and bruises along the way, and I finally thought that I was turning a corner and God was blessing me with this beautiful gift of a child. And just, yes, finally something was going my way. And then when she was born, she was just absolutely perfect. I had all of these dreams and expectations for her. I thought of all the things that I thought she was going to do. Yeah, good girl. Right after her first birthday, I started to notice her behavior changes. She went from, saying that. She was obsessed with Dora the Explorer, Mama, Dada. She was saying it all. Good girl, say Matt. Hit all of her milestones up to that point. She walked at 1. She was eating solid. She just, she looked really good. And then I just remember her, it felt almost overnight or very quickly where her demeanor just changed. She went from this super happy baby to crying and tantruming, just frustrated all the time. I remember saying to my mom one day during one of these tantrums, where did my happy baby go? But I didn't think anything past it. I think I was kind of not ready to fathom that something could be off, even though maybe the telltale signs were there. Okay. Good. Honey, you gotta get dressed. Gotta get dressed, honey. Time to get dressed. She started to lose the words that she had gained. She wasn't saying mama anymore. She wasn't saying that. She just seemed really disconnected from us.
instead of playing with her toys, she would take them, dump them all out of her toy box, and just start twisting them around in her hands aimlessly with no intended purpose. Was really kind of in denial about it. And then I remember one day we were in the middle of a store, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she just like started like screaming and yelling like somebody had slapped her. I don't even know what the problem was, and I was so mortified. I didn't even know what to do. I was so scared. I literally just left the half full cart in the store, picked her up, and just ran out of there. Never went to that store again. I just didn't even know what to think. And that was probably the first time it really kind of stung for me that maybe something is wrong. They diagnosed her. They didn't diagnose her right away. They said that, she was too young for a diagnosis. I didn't even know what they meant when they said that. I was diagnosed with what? I just had no idea what they were talking about. And then they said, we'll come back in if you're not seeing progress. And I said, okay, and a couple of months later, I'm watching these speech therapists play with her on the floor. I'm not seeing any progress and felt like she was getting a little worse. And then we went for our 2-year-old wellness visit, and the doctor said that she was behind if she wasn't using 20 words with intent. And that was probably just the knife to my heart. At that point, I really couldn't deny that something was up with her anymore. So then I called the county back in, and she was diagnosed on the spectrum. And I remember that day, and it was worst days of my life. It was my darkest hour. I could easily say that. As a mother, as a woman, as just a human being, it was probably one of the hardest times I had ever gone through. And I remember just being so happy with God, so thankful to be so pleased at doing this to her and wrapping this beautiful gift he had given me. And for a while there, I struggled to figure out what this meant, or what we were going to do, or how this was going to define her. All those dreams I had for her future were just completely shattered, and I had no idea what was going to happen next. And I went from just hopeful to just complete blank when I thought about the future. One night I was thinking, I'm going to die one day, and who's going to care for her like that? And something about that thought just snapped me out of my depression and my anger and my fear, and said, listen, we got to get to work here. I promised that when she was born, I was going to be the best mother I could be to her. And that promise hasn't changed. In fact, she needs me more now than ever, not less. She needs me now more than ever. And I didn't know at the time what we were capable of, or what having those changes, that mindset shift for me was going to do. But I wanted to know that at the end of every night, I could look myself in the mirror with confidence and say, did you do everything you could, Michelle, to give her the best possible life? And if the answer was yes, then that was a good day. And I wanted the answer to be yes, 100%. And no matter where the cards fell, I know I could leave this earth saying I gave her everything I had, no regrets. And as I've navigated this world with her and walked away that day after having that thought, I really just grabbed the bull by the horns. I became her fiercest advocate. I'm not a special education master's degree teacher. I never had any formal training in ABA, but I knew that I was going to learn whatever I needed to learn to be really strong for her. And Juliana lost all of her language.
Cheerios? You want Cheerios? They want Cheerios. Okay.
She was nonverbal when she was diagnosed.
Show me what you want. Okay. What's up?
We taught her sign language.
Show me. Juliana, show me. Good girl.
Then she went from sign language to word approximations. Then she's starting to speak.
Say I candy.
She went from the most restrictive preschool environment. She was in a 6.4, most restrictive preschool, special education preschool environment.
Good morning. Your name is. And how
to now where she is almost 8 years old. She's in the second grade class in a gen ed school, integrated class with typical peers. She speaks beautifully now. What did you like about the troll experience? She has a personality. She has conversation skills. There's still things that we need to work on, but for the most part, her future went from black to now having possibilities. And none of that could have happened had I not kind of gotten out of my own way and really hit the ground running and started to take action for her. And I can't say that I could do that for every parent I coach, but what I can tell them is I will have them feeling like I did, looking myself in the mirror, you looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, I was everything I could be for her today. I have no regrets. And whatever happens, happens. It's really for us as parents to know we fulfilled the duty that we promised when we had these children, which was to be the best versions of ourselves, to live, to raise these children. I've helped now hundreds of mothers, coach them one-on-one to do the same things I did, to help them to be strong, to help them to create plans where we're seeing constant progress. This is what I want to do. I want to give you the chance that Juliana's had. I want to give you every opportunity to give your child that kind of
Dear Sarah, today was a day full of happiness. Day of thanks. Thanks for everyone and great times. I hope you remember. Happy birthday, love, Jane.
All righty. So that's my little peanut in a nutshell. I still look back on her life and I don't know how that happened. I honestly thought that I didn't know what was possible for us. When the diagnosis came, our lives went dark. I'm going to talk about that a little bit tonight. And I didn't know it was possible. And one of the things that we're really going to dive deep on tonight is that I needed to change if I wanted her to change. And that's one of the strongest messages that you can leave with tonight, is that I need to start looking within, that you probably already have all the answers inside you to potty train, but the thoughts that you're thinking about autism is probably what's stopping you from being able to access it. So that if anything happens tonight, I want to be able to break free for you, break you of the chains of some of the shitty beliefs that you've been thinking that is keeping you stuck and keeping your child in diapers. Okay, so let's talk about the big three. I talked about that during the agenda when I was going over the agenda. I believe that all children on the spectrum, no matter where they fall, level 1, level 2, level 3, mild, moderate, severe, if they get the big three, their chances of an independent life increase greatly. In fact, I've not seen it yet where if a child has the big three, that they can't live an independent life. And the first skill is communication. The second is problem behaviors at 0 or close to 0. And we need them not to have problem behaviors so they can sit and learn in school. And the third is what you all came for today, which is potty training. And it is the number one thing that every family comes to me with. And it's so fascinating to me because it's one of the easiest I can solve because it's really clean, right? Either you're shitting your pants or you're shitting in the toilet, right? There's no in between. Yet it's my easiest to solve. It's the thing I have a 100% success rate in the masterclass, but it's still the number one thing that fills my webinars over and over and over again, fills my inbox over and over and over again, fills my DMs over and over again. You guys struggle with this the most. And I believe the parent mindset is why the struggle is still so real for all of you. This was me and Juliana right after, probably a month after I brought her home from the hospital. She was diagnosed with autism at 25 months. And I share this photo, which wasn't glamorous, by the way, but I share this photo because I remember feeling so blessed, feeling so hopeful that her future had endless possibilities. I thought about her being student body president. I thought about her going to prom. I thought about her being a cheerleader, and all of that was gone the minute she was diagnosed. I thought her life was over, and I thought mine was too. Then in that video, I talked about it. I had a thought one night after I put both my babies to bed. I'm going to die one day. And who's going to care for her when I'm gone? Who's going to love her like her mother would? And there was something about that thought that really just snapped me out of my funk and got me into action. But I had done that a lot throughout my life, even before I was a mother. And I want to explain this to you, because if you don't have this moment, if you don't have this ability to make this transition, your results, the life you're living now, nothing will change. And this is, I always try to find analogies so it's easy for you guys to understand the journey I had from being depressed and scared and worried about the autism diagnosis to getting the result I have today, not just for my daughter, but for the hundreds of families I've worked with in the masterclass. And this is a picture of a boy. He looks like a little Buddha, and he was in this movie called The Matrix. It was out 20 years ago. It looks like he's bending a spoon with his mind. And he tells us not to try and bend the spoon, that's impossible. Instead, only try to realize the truth that there is no spoon. Now, he's not talking about, I'm not making the analogy that there is no autism. I can clearly define that when I had my daughter, she had language, she lost it. We had to teach her sign language. We had to teach her to start speaking again. And I also know that with my neurotypical son, it was a very different experience. I'm not saying that autism doesn't exist. What he's trying to say here is that if you believe, basically what he's trying to say is that there are problems in your life, like if you see autism as this problem that can't be solved, then you won't be able to solve it. And that you'll see that it's not the spoon that bends, it's only yourself. So it basically signifies that the idea that certain problems or obstacles only exist if one believes in it. Now, I'm not saying autism doesn't exist, but what does exist with the autism diagnosis is our shitty thoughts about the life they're going to live, right? As soon as she was diagnosed, I thought her life was over. I thought mine was too. If you're thinking this still for your child, how effective are you going to be to potty train? If you still believe that your child's life is finished or it's limited, what kind of action are you going to take to teach the big three to your babies? But if I can look at problems and obstacles and think about what if not even that they exist, but I could overcome them, right? If I don't see them as a problem and I deny there's an issue, it's not real, meaning that I can't change that autism is here, but I have full control over what I want to think about it. I used to believe I could cure Juliana of autism. And up until kindergarten, that thought served me well. Because you know what happened? I did fucking everything. I got doors slammed in my face. I got no's. I got humiliations. I got all types of shit. But I kept getting up because I believed that there was a possibility that I could cure her of autism. So even though it wasn't an accurate belief, and I had to have my experience to realize it wasn't going to be an accurate belief, and that came to me around kindergarten, it served me well. I showed up in an energy of a mother who did not stop. I was always trying shit. And most of the shit I tried didn't work. But if I quit, if I stopped trying, what would have become of her? What would her life look like today? And that's what I want you guys to walk away with. Now, what I believed obviously was inaccurate, right? I believe now that she can have autism, but she can live an amazing life. And so when that happened in kindergarten, when I realized, life is going to bring us age-appropriate problems with the side of autism, and this is going to be our trajectory, but does it mean that she can't live an amazing life? Why can't autism be like somebody having allergies or somebody having asthma? It's just everybody's got something, right? And what if she could still live a fulfilled life and have autism? And that's how I show up for her today. That's how I show up for her every day. That's how I teach my parents to show up for their kids. If I believe I can change the thoughts I think about myself and my child with autism, I can change the outcome for my baby in our reality. One of the things I was absolutely obsessed with when I was a child, up until probably even now, I love it. I love hearing stories of exceptions to the rules, right? And the reason this came about for me is that my whole childhood I was picked on. I had really bad bullying experience. And I remember thinking throughout all these bullying experiences, I'd come home crying and I'd say, I can't wait for somebody's just got to come in and see this injustice and save me. Somebody's going to swoop in and make this right, because this is just wrong. You can't just keep getting kicked around day after day after day. And this went on for years. And then I had an incident that happened in middle school where I confronted a bully and the guy never fucked with me again. And there was something in that moment that said to me inside, Michelle, no one is coming. It has to be you. And I became my own hero in that moment. And after that, not only did he never bother me again, nobody really ever bothered me again. I started having friends and I started enjoying my life for the first time. And I believed that I was the exception to the rule. Like, how often did you ever hear of that happening? I was able to turn my life around. I was able to be my own hero. And I was so fascinated by that. And I was able to create that result by standing up to that bully, that I started to continue to create that result throughout my life, even up to the point of my daughter's diagnosis. And at first, when I got the diagnosis, I thought just like you. I had my knee-jerk, shitty thoughts about it. I thought it was like Rain Man, a major debilitating disability. She was going to need lifetime care. But even with that fear, by then I was practicing the belief that I could create the exception to the rule. I could be the exception to the rule. And by extension, my daughter, my spawn, my Juliana, she could be the exception to the rule, which, by the way, are all just thoughts I believe about myself. To this day, I was so trained, I was so practiced, because I had been believing it since middle school. I went middle school to 35 years old to 37 when she was diagnosed. I had all that time to believe that I could create results anytime. And that's what got Juliana where she is today. I choose to believe these things about myself and my daughter every day. Be the exception and not the rule, right? It's the reason Juliana is where she is today. And you know, it was interesting when we were going through the autism journey in the beginning, I assumed, because we were in the beginning, you're in early intervention where I was, and we didn't get into the world, to go out into the world with the other families with children with autism until three. And I had just assumed up until that point that all parents thought this way. And if they didn't think this way about their kids, they thought this way. If they didn't think this way about themselves, they thought about this way about their kids. But this is the thing. One cannot exist without the other. I can't change anything for my child if I don't believe I can't create change for myself. And you can't change that autism is here, but you can choose how you want to show up for yourself and your child. Only when you do that can you change the reality for you and the reality for your baby. I can't give you the path tonight to potty training if you've already given up on a limitless future for your baby. If you don't think thoughts that create the action to change you and in turn change your reality, you can end up like parents I've encountered. I swear to God, when we left early intervention, I believed every parent thought like me. They're going to work really hard. They're going to believe that they can create anything from anything, right? I'd say I could make lemonade from any lemon sandwich somebody gave me, right? I can make something beautiful from any hand I was dealt. And I thought all parents thought like this. And this, as soon as I entered a special education preschool world, this is what I heard. Parents of preschool children talking about giving up their homes to the state to be group homes. We're talking about parents of children that are 3 or 4 years old, already talking about plans to give away their home. Parents putting teenagers in group homes earlier than they wanted to just to get them in the system. And they didn't want to lose their spot that they're going to need. Not that they might need when they're adults, that they're going to need when they're an adult. Parents of young children going to estate planning and transition planning workshops. I mean, they were offering this at the preschool level. Parents talking about starting businesses for dignified employment of children with special needs who will obviously become adults with special needs. Parents who spend tons of their time trying to change the world and make the world inclusive to the child instead of focusing on getting the child prepared for the world that we all know stops for no one. And I consider myself a planner. I always think 5 steps ahead, but I take huge issue with a parent that future ships their kid into a group home before the age of 5, even for the age of 10 or 15 for that matter. Nobody, because I know what's going to say next. Well, there's doctors that have told us, therapists, teachers have told us this is going to be their life. This is their trajectory. I call this professionalitis. When I take all of my parent intuition, all of my own common sense and throw it out the fucking window when autism comes, and I just lean on professionals that see my kid for like an hour every 6 months or an hour every year or 30 minutes or 20 minutes, and I listen to them. But I want to ask you, for yourself, for somebody you know, for your child, how many times has a professional doctor or therapist told you something about you or your child and they've been 100% wrong? You could put it in the Q&A. I can't tell you how many times that's happened. And if you think this way, if you give away all your power to just some person who's got a degree, you give up on your child before the job has begun. The number one reason stopping your child from potty training is your thoughts about it. And your thoughts are creating your current results with potty training. What are your thoughts around your child learning potty training? I want you to really think about that now. And you can put it in the Q&A. What are your thoughts about your child learning to potty train, knowing what their capabilities are, knowing where they're at, knowing their age? What do you think about them potty training? Do you think they're capable of potty training? Do you think you're capable of teaching them? Does autism mean diapers for life? Does autism mean cancer to you? Do you see autism as a death sentence? Most families do, and it's not. My daughter is not only not a unicorn. What she did, what we did for her is possible for all of your babies. But I can't believe it for you. You have to believe it for yourself. Your thinking needs to be setting yourself and your child up for success when it comes to potty training. This is the most important thing. This is better than me telling you all the tips and tricks, going over reward systems, teaching you how to sit, all this crap, all that crap is already inside you. This is the log jam right here. If I think autism is a death sentence, if I think autism is cancer, if I think autism means a limited life living in a group home, that's the reason why I don't have potty training done. All thoughts that you have in your brain are optional. The brain, I always say the brain, we have 60,000 thoughts a day. We don't remember all of them, obviously, it's 60,000 thoughts, but most of the ones we can remember, and most of them are shitty, scary thoughts. The brain, even though you may have higher, you have goals and you want this to happen for your family. You want to be able to be the mother or the father or the grandparent that gets this done for your child. But and this is your higher belief. But your brain's job isn't to fulfill that wish. Your brain's job is to keep you safe. It's not meant to keep you happy. It's not meant to elevate you. It means to keep you safe. And safe to the brain isn't getting your child out of diapers. Safe to the brain is keeping things the way they are now. And if I automatically believe every thought my brain presents to me, my child will be finished. You'll be finished. I believe we are the only species that can hear our own thoughts. And it impacts the way we feel and the actions we take and the results we're living. And if that's the case, it's a beautiful gift as a species to be able to hear our own thoughts, because then I can get to choose which ones I want to believe and which ones I want to toss. And you get to choose your thinking to get new emotions, take new actions, and get the results that you want for your babies. And in my program, I help parents like you to think intentionally to get the results you want for your child with autism. Honestly, it's the heart of my program. This is the number one reason that your child is not potty trained, is your thoughts about them and their thoughts about you. You do that. I always say it's like the log jam. If I can break the log jam free, you can teach them anything. And this is Mary. She was one of my first clients. This is many moons ago. Her son was 7 when we started working together. He was pre-verbal. Notice how I didn't say nonverbal. I'm very intentional about language. When I think the word nonverbal, which technically my daughter was, she had language and lost it, I never described her that way. I was always mystified why somebody would say that, because nonverbal feels permanent. It feels finite. I'm not saying that means that to every single family in here who has a pre-verbal child, but if it makes me feel like shit, why would I think it about my child? So I said he was pre-verbal and in diapers. Within 2 weeks of working with us, he was fully potty trained. And within a month, he said mama for the first time. This is not a unicorn situation. You're going to hear story after story tonight that this is possible for you. It's possible for your child where they are at. Okay, now we're going to get into the potty power preparation. I'm going to go through these slides quickly. You're going to get a copy of this at the end because I want to get to Q&A. Disclaimer, this is my disclaimer. I'm not a doctor. I don't pretend to be a doctor. You want to run all of the things, and this is all informational. You want to run everything I'm recommending to you by a doctor or a behavioral professional, especially somebody who's working with your child, like a board certified behavior analyst. This is especially important if your child is in danger of hurting themselves or others. Okay, so the first step to potty training is always to make sure your child's ready. Some readiness signs are right here: waking up dry, taking the diaper off, requesting the potty, or better yet, handing you a pull-up. I've had parents tell me that, well, I can't get in a potty train. He'll just poop in the pull-up and then hand me a new one when it's time to clean it. These are signs that your child's ready to potty train. All of these are the signs. And most importantly, we need to make sure that the child will sit on the potty. So 2 big things. First off, we have to make sure that the child can sit on the potty. right? So some parents will come in here and they'll write in the Q&A, you know, my kids just got low attention span, ADHD on top of their autism, and they just keep running around the room. And every time I try to sit them, they're just, you know, cringing and wiggling, and I just can't get them to sit. We can't run before we crawl. So if you have a child who will not sit on the potty, then that is your first program. I always say it's like running programs. I take every type of goal and I break it down to bite-sized chunks. And one of the biggest obstacles that needs to be established before we can potty train is they've got to be willing to sit neutrally. So how we do that is we practice, and this is your best way to get them practicing following directions. You're getting to practice instructional control. So how we do this is we're going to talk about rewards next, but basically we want to come up with a reward that's always 10 times our ask. So if I'm asking a child to just sit on a toilet, not eliminate on it, just sit on it, I could say, okay, that's like sitting in a chair, sitting on their bed, sitting in the car, right? That's an easy ask. So I can come up with like a decent reward for that. Maybe it's a sticker, maybe it's bubbles, maybe it's a balloon. How this works is you're going to get out your timer and you're going to ask the child to sit for the first time. And whatever they sit, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever, that's your baseline. And every time you run the program with them, you're going to put another 5 seconds on the clock. You don't have to tell them that. All you have to say is you sit till the timer goes off. I love a visual audio timer. When that timer goes off, you're going to get a balloon. You're going to get a sticker. That's why they don't need to be verbal to be taught. This is all behavior. First this, then this. Okay? Another important sign for potty readiness is your child has to have solid poops. I had some parents reach out this week and their child has some diarrhea, some gastro issues. Those have to be solved first, because you know what it's like to have diarrhea, right? Sometimes you might not make it to the bathroom if you've got diarrhea, right? So your child is trying to hear nature call. And if nature's calling too quickly, it's not fair to the child that we're trying to potty train when they're having gastro issues. So we need to solve for that first, then we can actually officially potty train. So the same thing goes for potty phobia, which is what I call, they have to be able to sit on the potty for 3 to 5 minutes. You're going to build out your time to 3 to 5 minutes, and then they can actually go. We can go right to the next step of potty training. And if they have a loose stool, then we want to fix that first, and then you can actually go on to the potty training once that's solved for. Okay. All right. Perfect. And then we're going to talk next about the most important part of potty training, which is the reward system. Reinforcements are required. Now, I know tonight I'm going to either get it in Q&A or we're going to talk to somebody and I'm going to get one of two thoughts. My child doesn't like anything, or my child loves everything and there's nothing that stands out as a top 10 hot to trot reinforcer. Thinking your child doesn't have anything that they like that you can use as a reward is a thought error. We talked about mindset right before we got into the tactical tonight. It's a thought error to believe that your child, there's nothing that motivates your child. And if you think that, that's a dead end thought. You will forever be in diapers. You have to be willing to believe that that thought is not true. And we're going to talk a lot on that tonight, I'm sure of it. If your child has lots of things that motivate them, what I want for actual potty training, meaning pee and poop going in the toilet, is something that they would do anything to have access to. Whatever it is, it's got to be presented immediately. It's got to be tangible, accessible, visible, specific to potty training, meaning that if I'm using a cookie for going pee or poop and he loves this cookie, he can't have it any other time of day. It's got to be specific to potty training. And here are some standard ideas of what people use: snacks, bubbles, books, toys, electronic time, praise, tickles, piggyback rides, you name it. When we're getting ready to potty train, we need to make this commitment out of the gate. If I am in this, I am in this. I am committed. Okay. And I also want to commit to the thought too that potty training can be a nightmare experience, like I fucking talked about, and exactly what I served myself. Or I could look at potty training like I'm teaching her an important life skill, like riding a bike or tying her shoes or brushing her hair. I know that the connection with potty training, you're thinking about touching pee and poop. But I want you to remember the time when you first brought them home from the hospital and they blew out a diaper for the first time. It was just the cutest thing. Oh, look at the cutest thing. I just blew this diaper out. You're so cute. Oh, you got poop up in your hair. Oh, let me just give you a quick bath. We don't, for some reason, as the child gets older, not for some reason, for an obvious reason, we're realizing the lack and the skill that the child's getting older. And now it's starting to feel like dirty poop. That's a choice. That's a thought error. I could look at this and say, you know, if I want to do this and I want to do this in a way that I'm going to stick to it and I'm not going to and I'm not going to revert to doing this with diapers, is I got to look at this as like, this is going to be an amazing life skill. And I can teach them this. And what if I could do this in a really fun way? Make this like a Disneyland experience, which is exactly how I want you to make it for your baby. I want them to be excited to do this with you. I don't want them to be scared, because if they have an accident, you're not going to lose your shit anymore. You're going to be, uh-oh, pee-pee and poopy go in the toilet. Let's clean up. See how different that is versus like where my example, I throw the cleaner against the wall. I'm screaming and cursing. She's freaked out. I'm freaked out. Potty training was a lot more painful than it needed to be for me and Juliana. For Cody, it was a breeze because I had a different thought about it. I said, you know what? I can do this. I can potty train anything, anybody. And I did. And he was happy. I was happy. It was fun. It's optional to think potty training is a fucking nightmare. It's also optional to think that I can have fun doing this. What if we could do this? And I'm like the boss, and I could just, this is going to be an amazing experience. You get to choose which one's going to get you to the promised land, which is the experience you want to have, right? Which is the experience that's going to keep you motivated. That's what I want everybody to kind of walk away with tonight. So if I'm going to be committed, I mean, committed means committed. That means the diapers are gone. And it's Hello underwear. The idea is that diapers are no longer an option. Let me tell you something. A pull-up and a diaper are the same thing, okay? Diapers would only be okay at first for nap time or bedtime under the condition they're swiftly removed when the child wakes up. If we're committed to potty training, we're committed to potty training. This is where the mindset work comes in. It's a decision that needs to be made 100% to go all in and no more diapers or pull-ups. Now, obviously, if we're going to do a 3-day intensive, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, and they have to go back to school on Monday and they're still shitting, 50% of the time they're having accidents, then of course they have to go to school in the diaper. But when they're home and they're with you, you're committed. Those diapers are gone. And the diapers at school, in my mind, this is temporary. Once I get to about 80% success, I'm sending them in with a bunch of underwear and a bunch of change of clothes. I'm going to give them the schedule and the rewards they have at school. But we're coming into summer, so nobody's got an excuse. So that's it. Diapers are out, okay? Accidents are inevitable. They will happen. Fearful thinking is what hinders the process. Quitting thinking is what hinders the process. It's the only thing you're not allowed to do as an autism parent is quit. Okay, so now let's talk about the process. The process of potty training is 3 steps. For boys, we're going to choose. If you haven't already, we want to choose and stay consistent with standing or sitting. I prefer to teach boys sitting because they have to sit to poop. I've seen it many times where families will come to us and say, the boy is pee trained and he's not poop trained. I said, does he stand to pee? And they say, yes. And I said, that's what the problem is. Not that that's a problem. It's not. It's now is an extra step. We have to now teach that boy it's safe to sit. First, remember, we have to get rid of any potty phobia. It's safe to sit. And then once it's safe to sit, then we can actually teach them the potty train. All right, so we got the step 1 is the extra drinks and salty snacks. You know it. They can drink anything but alcohol, right? They have water, they have soda, chocolate milk, anything they like at 2 to 4 ounces of liquid per hour. Number 2 is you're going to schedule your potty sessions with reinforcements. At the end of tonight, you're going to get a copy of this. You can see it on the screen. This is my toilet training data collection sheet. While you're getting your reinforcements ready, while you're getting battle ready mentally, like the days I'm going to pick to do this, I want you to start taking data when they're dry, when they're wet, when they're having a bowel movement. This is going to help you to get ready to pick your schedule for the potty session. Have your reinforcements ready. Breaks between potty sessions could increase gradually. For example, if a child goes every 45 minutes for 3 days and has no accidents, you could push it out to an hour. Once they're prompting for potty on their own, breaks can be even longer, 3 to 4 hours. Rewards still apply all through these phases. And the 3rd step is data collection. You're going to note all your successful trips on here. You're going to be using this before potty training. You're going to be using it during potty training. You want to make sure you're noting everything, accidents, successes, big and small, okay? And the intensive method. This is what I love for children. I love the intensive message for a child at any age, but the intensive method that I like specifically for children 5 and under is the 5 minutes on, 10 minutes off. With the older kids, they can hold their bladder longer. So we're going to test it out. That's why you're going to use your data sheet. You're going to figure out like how long can they hold it between diaper changes before they're wet again, right? So for the intensive method, what I do is I pick a weekend or 3 days. I like 3 days. 2 days is probably enough, but you can do to get more data with 3. And I kind of say, okay, honey, you're going to take the kids. I'm going to focus on my baby, and we're going to be locked in a room, attached to the bathroom, and nothing else, right? So we're going to be in there. It could be TV, whatever in there. And I'm going to take them every 10 minutes, 5 minutes on, 10 minutes off in a confined area with things to keep them busy, always with the treasure, with the amazing reinforcement that you're picking. is visible. The child's in underwear or shirt, nothing else. I don't even mind if they go naked from the waist down. I don't even mind if you do it outside with the potty chair. This is the perfect time of year to potty train. I say it about every time. You're like, this is Christmas break, the perfect time to potty train. Winter break, the perfect time to potty train, right? It's all my thoughts, right? I'm like, oh, summer's great because you could be outside and you could do it with the potty chair outside. You're going to have your lots of salty snacks. You're going to set your timer. Every time they sit, whether they pee or not, I used to give my kids a little sticker or something just to keep the relationship of going to the bathroom is like a good thing. This is a fun thing. Every time I go, I get a little something, right? When they actually go, we go crazy and we give them a high value reward. As they do this successfully, it's 5 minutes on the potty, 10 minutes off, and we start spreading that out as they improve. That's what the data collection is all about, okay? I want to share another story. This was Ian. He was 10 years old when his mom joined our program, and he is officially potty trained, and 2 magical things happened. He watched videos of people opening and eating candy on YouTube. That was his big thing. He loved that. So he got one of those pound peanut butter cups for Christmas, and it was the perfect reward for potty training because every time he peed, they would cut a piece off and he'd get to eat it. It was just really fabulous. He got to unwrap it every time, wrap it back up. See how she created high desire around this peanut butter cup. And then for number 2, they implemented a token board system. And then once he got like 3 or 5 poops in the toilet, he got to go to a local hotel with a swimming pool. As soon as he knew that was the reward, she said he literally went to the bathroom and took a shit on the toilet right then and there. His teachers were just speechless because she had never seen such a quick turnaround in any of the children she's worked with. I cannot tell you how much joy, unspeakable joy I have in my heart right now for all of us. A veil of depression that I didn't know existed had lifted, and I can see more clearly now. This program we put in place is so much more fun and affordable than any of the treatments I've paid for. He was 10 years old when he trained. Joseph, the other boy, was 7 years old. This is possible. I just had an 18-year-old woman in the program potty trained. This is possible for your babies. Let's perfect transition to talk about poop, right? Because the job isn't done unless we're pooping in the toilet as well. First, I want to say that it's very, very normal for them to land pee before poop. It happened with both of my kids. The main reason it happens is you get more reps of peeing than you do pooping. Sometimes my kids do not poop every day. They'll poop every couple of days. I would say somebody would describe it as constipated. That's the other thing too. If it's painful constipation where it's like, I mean, they're impacted, their belly's distended, they're in terrible pain, behaviorally we're seeing changes in them. We want to get that right before we potty train. But if you think, oh, my child will hold their poop for like 2 days, 5 days, even 7 days, that's not a reason that they can't potty train. They're holding it. They're willfully holding it. That's a lot different than being a medical condition where they're constipated. So what we do in the program is I start working with you to start to like, listen, I don't use Miralax, I don't use X-Lax, I don't do any of that shit. But I try to we try to work together dietarily to make it a lot harder for them to hold it. I had a girl that held for 7 days. It was the longest how mom got her ride on, and then she finally went. We had to keep working on the reward system until we finally found a payout, and then she was done after that one time, and then she was trained. These are the key tips for poopers. If your child has an accidental poop while on the toilet to pee, that should get a huge amount of reward. So sometimes that happens when they're sitting there and all of a sudden the pee comes out and the poop comes out, you're going to go bananas. I even do double up the reward, or I create a separate high value reward system for poop. For my kids, I had a wrapped present, right? They had like cookies or snacks for pee and poop, but a wrapped present for pee, and a wrapped present for poop. If the child has an accident and poops in the underwear, then you're going to take the child in the poop-filled underwear to the potty and have the child shake the poop into the potty and say, oh, too bad, poo-poo goes here. Let's clean up next time, right? Let's clean up. Time to clean up, and then we'll get it next time. Remember, if you go poo-poo, there's this wrapped present for you. If your child waits until you put on the pull-up to poop, I don't know how that could be happening because we all committed earlier that we are not doing that. If we are committed, there are no pull-ups. Don't give your child an out. If they know the pull-up's coming, they will always hold it. Bowel training. When nobody ever talks about wiping. Wiping should be immediately taught as you potty train because job isn't complete without wiping. You want to focus on 4 steps. I only put 3 here, but first one is to wipe. You're going to pull up the underwear, flush, wash hands. Consistency is key. Reinforcement is key. This is how we build a habit loop. I also like to say I count the squares. I do 5 squares. Toilet paper is wipe for a reason, right? We wipe from front to back. If it's brown, we fold it, go again until it comes back clean. And we just do this exercise with the child hand over hand. All right, so now I want to talk about fecal smearing. A lot of you guys have messaged in that you have children that play with their poop. When we talk about any type of problem behavior, including fecal smearing, there's always 5 functions for a reason for that happening. We have to understand the true function of why they're fecal smearing to create the solve. You all give me the general statement, they play with their poop. But a lot of times when we talk about it, I'll analyze a specific event and then it'll turn out it was something else. So I'm going to go over that for you in a second. The reasons a child could be fecal smearing are to get your attention. Remember, negative attention is still attention. They like the feel of it, sensory, delay and unpreferred activity, infections, abdominal pain, discomfort, or they don't like it in their pants, right? It feels funny, so they just pick it up and they drop it onto the floor. The solve is to figure out what your child's reason is based on the above and find in what we call an ABA, the ABCs of it. The antecedent, what situations occurred that lead up to the smearing, the behavior itself, and what's the consequence, what happens after smearing. So for example, if they're doing it for attention, how you'll know, right? I had a boy who used to take his shit and he'd start smearing it on the walls and he'd be looking around, smiling, looking to see if somebody saw him. And if nobody saw him, he'd take the poop with him, find his mom, and then just start doing it on that wall. That's attention-seeking behavior. So in those instances, if we know it's attention-seeking, we don't give attention. So you're like, how do you not do that? He's smearing shit on the walls. I'm going into fight or flight because I don't want to see shit on my walls. And it's going to be a disaster in my life. I've had these thought loops, so I know this is exactly what happens. It's like an avalanche of shitty thought after shitty thought. What I do with this is that if, usually you got to think about your current reaction and how animated and loud and engaging it is. You have to understand to a child, negative attention is just as valuable as positive attention. It means I'm significant. I'm important. She's engaging with me. Even if it's not the best way of engagement, still engagement's valuable to the child. So when I tell my parents, no eye contact, you grab the child, you clean up, clean the child's hands, hand over hand. You're both scraping it off the walls. Clean it up, blah, 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 and you walk away. The child gets no comments, no conversation, no nothing. And then when the child realizes that the interaction is different, the payout is no longer there because you're not even talking to them, you're not even making eye contact, they're going to find another way to get your attention. And with attention seekers, this is them giving you their message through behavior, right? Not through their voice, through behavior, that they want more of your attention. So what we want to do is give your child attention when they're doing things correctly. Good job sitting there watching TV. Good job leaving your seatbelt on. Good job sitting at the table, right? Want to give them attention for when they're doing good things, so they want to do more of those good things. If it's sensory, so we have some kids, this is what playing with poop looks like. Our mom told me he plays with poop. I'm like, all right, what's going to happen? He was standing in front of the TV and I heard him go, and he obviously pooped his pants. Then he put his hand in there and he took the poop out and he dropped on the floor and then he looked at his hand and I guess there was some shit on his hand and then he wiped it on the table. He was playing with it. It was disgusting. I'm like, no, he didn't like the way it felt in his pants. He picked it up, dropped it on the floor, some poop got on him, and he wiped it on the table. But like her fight or flight response is that they're playing with poop. That's what everybody loves to say. They play with poop. They eat poop. They play with poop, right? What I want to say is like we have to understand the true function of what they're doing. So sensory, meaning like they like the feel of it. If I had to imagine what poop felt like, it's probably like Play-Doh, right? At whatever consistency, whether it was left out or not, right? So they're liking the way that feels. It's a sensory experience. So if that's what poop is doing for them, we want to give them something else in their environment that gives them that same payout, that same sensation. Play-Doh, putty, slime, kinetic sand. Finally, the biggest thing that will also come up, you guys will get success, right? Finally, the kid realizes pee and poop goes here. I love it, great. But they don't tell me when to go. You guys like shit on everything that you got. You didn't even think you could have had what you had up to that point. And then you're all frustrated, like they don't tell me when to go. Throughout this process, you're going to be prompting them. But guess what? You prompt all children, not just our children on the spectrum. This is a process. Potty training is a process that they have to do a lot of reps to get as good as you and me is at, right? So if I'm sitting here talking, all of a sudden I feel the urge to go, I'm going to say, guys, I'll be right back. I got to go take a poop, right? Or I'll say something else. But you know what I mean? I'm going to go and I'm going to take a poop. And I'm going to come back, but I've had a lot of years of practice. They're still learning nature calling. So once they realize, all right, you want me to pee and poop in here. Okay, got it. Now I need you to tell me when to go. So asking for the potty is successful potty training of a child on the spectrum or neurotypical child require the same principles, right? This is a part of the process for all children. For teaching a child to ask the potty, think about how they communicate now. Juliana did not speak when we potty trained her, so this was the sign for potty training, right? You could do a potty picture, a potty sign, a communication device, a verbal prompt. When we're telling them when to go in the beginning, like let's say they're going like every 20 minutes, like, okay, time to go potty. That's what I used to say to Juliana, and then she would go. After a while, when I start to see, okay, every time she goes, she's having 80 to 100% success days. When I'm taking her every 20 minutes, I start widening the window. And one of two things are going to happen. She's going to start to feel nature call and try to run for the bathroom. I'll never forget it. We had a party going on at our house. I don't know what it was. And all of a sudden they're like, go, I don't even know what, I don't even know how they knew she had to go potty. She might have given them the sign. She started running through the room. She opened the gate. She was running to the bathroom to make it before she had an accident. That's going to happen when we start widening that window. They're going to start to get their reps in of feeling nature call. Okay. So in a nutshell, the skills you need to potty train your child is number one, you need to be consistent. Number two, you need to be committed. We don't do it for one day and say, oh, I guess potty training is not in the cards for us. No, we are doing this until we get the result we came for. Number three, you have to be willing to clean up accidents. You have to neutralize your response to seeing shit on the floor, seeing shit in their undies. Okay? It's fine. It's not called potty perfection. It's called potty training. Okay? And number four, you need to have a winner or learning mentality. Either I'm learning or I'm winning. When you do a three-day intensive, one of two things happen. Either you get a potty trained child, which is, oh, the gods are singing, everyone's so happy, or you're going to have a lot of data. And you'll say, okay, after 3 days, I know a lot. I know when they go poop. I know the tells when it's about to come. I hear farting. I see the child run into a closet. You're going to have a lot of information. It doesn't mean that you aren't successful or that you're not going to be successful. I always say, like, we're never failing. The only true fail for us is quitting. The only true fail for you is putting a diaper back on and believing all the bullshit thoughts that your brain says, hey, listen, this ain't safe. Go back in the cave. We can change diapers. Listen, we know what to expect when there's diapers to change. This shit, sometimes they shit their pants. Sometimes they go, oh, not cool. This is dangerous to our brains. We have to start challenging the bullshit that's rolling around in our heads if we want our kids to get this important life skill. This opens up the doors. I know you already know this. It's why you're all here. And this is the result. Your child will be more compliant if you can potty train them. You'll be more confident that you can teach them anything. I always say to my families, they'll come in with a gazillion things that they want to work on in the masterclass. We get potty training first. They're like, oh, I can teach them anything. I'm this low confident right now. You need that. You need to have that win under your belt. You're going to be less stressed. And obviously you and your child are going to have more freedom if you can get them potty trained. And that's the Potty Power class. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this, but I want to help you. I want to help you to make a decision to get these results now. And this is what the masterclass is about. And I want to invite you to start doing this work with me now. Every single day that goes by is an opportunity for your child to have the big three. That's the communication, the reducing problem behavior and getting potty trained. Waiting to develop these skills means stopping to change diapers. Waiting also means dealing with constant tantrums because your child isn't communicating. And waiting means you're enduring problem behaviors with no end in sight. And worse, waiting to help your baby is stopping your child from having a chance in an independent life. I know you guys want this. This is just the beginning. Potty training is just the beginning. Starting to teach your child these skills today is the single most important thing you can do for yourself, your child, and your whole family. I'm going to help you to get started because I'm going to tell you about my masterclass so you can start working on helping your baby to get the big three today. Okay? So what you might want for your child. Obviously, you want them to use the bathroom and no longer be in diapers. I want that for them too. You may want to hear your child be able to speak and hear their voice. I remember fantasizing. This is how positive thoughts can motivate. I'd sit on the couch after she went to bed, after we had like a really good day where she was either making sounds or she was using her signs like crazy. And I'd say, gosh, I can't wait to hear how her voice sounds when she says, I love you, Mommy. I loved the minute that I taught her she learned her first sign was, this is more, but we don't teach more. In my program, we don't teach more because you can more fucking everything and then you don't learn anything. So we made more mean cookie for Julianne. I'll never forget it. She learned that sign after day 1 and she had 10 signs within a week. And the tantruming that she was doing constantly was gone. Just like that. She stopped being aggressive and she stopped tantruming. We got to be able to go to schools, any extracurricular activities, camps without our diagnosis making it impossible. You get to go on vacations, go to holidays, have parties without having to hover over, explain your child's behaviors away. And this is the byproduct of my class, right? You're thinking about all the things that you want for your child, but I want you to think about what's available for you. How are you going to be different if all of these things are done? I want you to start believing that autism is not a death sentence anymore, because it's not. I want you to know that you've left no stone unturned for your baby. I want you to live every day knowing that if you died tomorrow, you gave 110%, no regrets. And when you're gone, your child could be independent. This is another one of my early master classes. Her name was Kimberly. She's still a part of the program. And she said when she first found me, Easton was 3, and she couldn't get a firm diagnosis. He had very few words, 0 social skills, and was not potty trained. I found you the same day as our IEP meeting. That day I was defeated and overwhelmed after they asked me to list some of Easton's strengths. I sat there in tears as I struggled to come up with an answer. I had to find help, and luckily I found you. It's been 2 years since I joined the masterclass, and today I had a meeting with the school regarding his kindergarten placement. He is set to start in a general education class 80% of the time. He is fully potty trained. He has no aggressive behaviors. His speech is blossoming, and he tells me he loves me on a daily basis. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, had I not found you, we would not be here. I want you to know the work you do is so appreciated. It's truly made all the difference in my life, and most importantly, Easton's life. You have literally turned our life around, and I can't tell you enough what that means to our family. You are truly a lifesaver. And this is, I'll never forget, this was her speech therapist. We were right about ahead to kindergarten. I gave her a card, and a little gift card, and she sent me this card. She said, it's been a pleasure working with Juliana this last year and watching her blossom, and she has made more gains and skills that I've ever seen in my 25 years of experience. I hear this from my families all the time. This is what's possible for your baby. I had a mom who joined, I'll never forget this. Her name is Erin. She's a wonderful mother. I didn't know this. She didn't tell me this when she first enrolled, that she had quit her job when her child was diagnosed, and she stopped her dream of getting her master's degree. And she joined the program terrified because she needed to potty train her son. She found a placement for him, but he had to be potty trained to go there. She lived in a rural area, and she wanted to go back to work. And if she wanted to go back to work, he had to be potty trained, but he had just gotten out of the hospital with a kidney infection. And she believed that he had that kidney infection, and it got so bad that he had to go to the ICU because she knew shit about autism and he didn't talk. And I told her that day, I said, listen, that was not a fail. I know it feels like a fail, but you learned something that day. You know the signs of a kidney infection. And I want you to also know that your brain's presenting to you that because he was nonverbal and had autism, and you think you know shit about that's the reason you missed the signs. But this could have happened to any child. And that if you wanted these skills, that now we had learns under our belt, and we knew what to look for. And I have not failed a family yet. Within 2 weeks, that boy was potty trained. In March, we did our testimonial interview, and I said to her, she told me that was when she told me I quit my job. I was able to find a job now, and I'm applying to go back to school to get my master's. A happy byproduct of the masterclass. She came in to get her child potty trained to be able to go to that school and get him communicating, and this was a happy byproduct that she was able to get her life back too. And I said, Erin, this was March 10th. I'll never forget it. I said, we talked on New Year's Eve, and you were crying, and you were scared to join my program. And if I had told you that on March 10th, this would be your life, would you have believed me? That you would have a potty trained child, that he would be going to the school full time, and that you would be able to go back to school and go back to work? And she said, no. That's 3 months. What could your life look like in 3 months? And that's what I want to offer you guys tonight. This is why you might want to join the Champions for Our Children program. I want to get you personalized strategies for exactly where your baby is at. We get a 100% success rate for potty training and 100% success rate for communication. You'll start to reconnect with your child because we're going to get that communication in place. Those tantrums are going to stop. 9 times out of 10, problem behaviors exist because they're frustrated. They can't communicate their wants and needs. We're going to get to the root level of your child's problem behaviors and treat it, not just treat the symptoms. When life happens, we can help you to get back on track If a regression happens, we'll tell you exactly how to handle it. Regression is not death. I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions in the autism world. Regression happens all over to everybody, right? Not just autism children, but we believe children with autism have regression. That's fucking death. That means I'm never going to get that back. That's a thought error. If you have any thought errors we've already encountered, and I haven't talked to one of you yet, right? Regression is life. We just have to figure out the cause, and then we can create the solve. We're going to learn. We're going to learn from trial and error rather than quitting on our kids. The only true fail is quitting. We're going to teach you how to build the champion mindset so you no longer have to worry about autism every minute of every day. And the beautiful byproduct of the masterclass, you get your life back too. The way the program works is it's a 3-month group coaching program with guaranteed results. And there's a 3-prong approach to it. The first one you get when you join is lifetime access to my study vault of courses. I've got courses on potty training, communication, stopping problem behaviors, social skills, picky eating, you name it, because we've been through it all with Juliana. And I've been able to use these protocols that I've worked with my own child with so many families. We've seen so many results, and you're going to get access, lifetime access to the study vault of courses. You can do it in 30 days. You can take your time, but it doesn't matter because you always have access to it. And I build it out all the time. This is a collection of programs is what makes my program the Harvard of autism. In addition to the vault, you're going to get 3 to 4 live group coaching calls a week. Just like coming on Zoom, we're going to be actually in a room with a bunch of people. You're all going to raise your hand, and I speak to every single one of you. I host a call a week. I have a mindset coach that's also in there. So you've got me. I'm the autism mom and life coach. I know everything from taking my first hits. I was never formally trained in behavioral therapy. This is all on the job training. I actually think it's better. Right? So I've learned everything I've learned by doing it myself with my child, helping families implement it. So you're going to get to speak to me every week. In addition to speaking to me, you're going to get to speak to my behaviorists. If you haven't had access to ABA, if you haven't had good experience with ABA, welcome. This program is going to be amazing for you. You're going to be dealing with 4 BCBAs that have over 30 plus years experience. We have Armando, Melissa, Stacy. We also have Julie. In addition to having BCBAs, I have Armando, and I absolutely love him. I call him I call him my unicorn because he's a male and he's a BCBA, which we never get. But he's also an adult with autism, whose mother was told he would never speak. And Armando didn't speak until the age of 7. He went from life skills class to gifted and talented. He got married last year, and he believed so much in behavioral therapy, he became a BCBA himself. He didn't even have access to it as a child. And you're going to be able to talk to somebody with autism and know what your baby is thinking. He even remembers what it was like to not be able to speak and how frustrating that was for him. And he's going to be able to help you to identify with your baby. And you're going to have access to him and my BCBAs. In addition to that, we also do mindset training. We have 2 mindset coaches in the program. If you didn't already know, I'm big on that. It's the gatekeeper to the progress that you're looking for. The life you're living now is based on the thoughts that you believe and think every day. I need to teach you to believe different things about your child. So you get the study vault, you get the 3 to 4 weekly group coaching calls, but we also have monthly specialist calls. I have a registered dietitian who's an autism mom and a speech language pathologist that's also an autism mom. We try to keep the theme is thick here. We want to give you as much support from people who know what it's like to live this life, not people who went to school for this. We want people who know what it's like 24/7 to live like this. If your child, you want to potty train them so bad, but the constipation is really painful and it's changing their behaviors, or you've got terrible diarrhea, Greer is a part of our program. She's going to help you to get their diet right. She's going to help you to find the right supplements to help them get their system good. Jessica, if you want to learn how to use the AAC device and you feel like school just dumped it on you, don't know what to do, she's going to help you with that. She can also help with pragmatic speech for our emerging talkers. She's also an autism mom, and she ran through my program as a student and now is one person on my team. I love the support we have for you. Everyone gets their questions answered. Even though it's a group coaching call, you get to hear other people getting coached, and you also get your questions answered every time you come to a call. And what we do is we get on that first call, that first week, and then we start building on that progress every week, and there's no chance that you're leaving without the results you came for. So in addition to the study vault, the group coaching calls, the monthly specialist, you have our Facebook community. So basically you have questions for me. I give you a blueprint. I give you a program to start running and you have questions on how to implement it, or you've made great progress and you want to know the next step before our next call the following week. You get to come into the Facebook group. You tag me, you tag one of the other coaches. We're checking that every day. You can also email me. I have parents emailing me videos, IEPs, asking for advice. You become a part of this program. You become part of my family. I swear to God, it's like I have the pictures of the babies on my walls. That's why I keep looking around me. Your baby becomes my baby. And this is this is the master class. This is the group for it. It's a private Facebook group. So you can email me, you can post in that group. Support is my North Star. I want you all to win. So on top of everything else you've got here that you get with the masterclass, you also get my action back guarantee. That means if you join the program and if after 90 days you don't get the results you came for, and you've been coming to your calls and you did your coursework and you've been listening to the advice of me or the other coaches and it's not working, if after 90 days you don't get what you came for, you either stay until you do or I give you your money back. That's how sure I am. I don't want to just run a program to run a program. I want to run a program to save a baby's life. And that's what we're doing every single day in the masterclass. So in addition to the study vault, the 3 to 4 group coaching calls a week, the monthly specialist calls, the Facebook community, the access to me, my action back guarantee, for tonight, I'm running 3 special bonuses. Bonus number 1 is if you join tonight by midnight, the masterclass, you get 1 private session with me. It doesn't matter. Honestly, you get weekly access to me on the group Zoom calls. So you're going to get to speak to me one-on-one and other people will hear, but this is actually you and me on our own private Zoom. And we can start our blueprint right then and there. We can help you start potty training, help you start putting communication in place. I love this. And if you join tonight, you're going to get access to me. Get your first private session is on me. Okay? If you join tonight, your second bonus, we're going to give you 5 months in the program instead of 3. That's 60 plus calls. It's actually, I think 70 plus calls to change your life. The more, honestly, what you need is 1 call with me a week. If you can't make me, if you can make me and the BCBA, it's golden. If you can't do 2 calls, you do 1 call with me, you're going to get results. You get what you came for. My action back guarantee stands in place. You come to 1 call, which is my call every week. I will get you what you came for. I do not stop. I am relentless because I believe I'm the exception to the rule. I believe I can create results, not just for my child, but for you. I'm going to show you how to create the belief in yourself that you are always the exception and you can create results for yourself and your child. And then you get all this, and then you get bonus number 3. If you join by midnight tonight, you get $500 off the program. Normally, the price of this program is $2,997, but for the Potty Power students tonight, the investment is $24.97, or you can do 3 payments of $878 or 4 payments of $660. That's only $16 a day, 70 plus calls to change your lives. All these bonuses and this price are going to go away after midnight. So you want to join now. If you don't see it in the chat box, I know we disabled chat, but I think Jen has put the link in the chat box so you guys can join there. We've also sent an email to your inbox. So don't leave because we're going to do Q&A, but I want you to know that you have the link there ready to join, and Jen put it in the chat box. So if you book in the program tonight, you get the full program like I mentioned. You're also going to get 1 private session with me, 5 months instead of 3, and $500 off. And the link is in the chat box, and all the bonuses go away at midnight. If you're thinking, can I afford to spend the money on this? Or this is expensive. It is an investment, but it's also more valuable than anything you can buy, because you're going to get years back and peace, knowing the future for your child has possibilities. Think about Erin. I didn't even know she had quit her job. I didn't even know she gave up school. Look what she got back by making this investment. This is an investment in the way you live your life and teach your child for the rest of your lives. Potty training isn't it. This is just the beginning. What does it cost you not to get the big 3 now? Think about what it's costing you not to have a potty trained child. And I'm not just talking about the cost of diapers or wipes, which averages to over $2,000 a year. Think about the cost of the time it takes to change them. More than 135 hours annually. That's 4 weeks out of your life a year. Cost of not being able to move on and teach other important life skills. That's invaluable. Cost you mentally and emotionally that this rite of passage from baby to child never happened. That cost is incalculable. Can you afford to pay that price any longer? If you're thinking, I don't know if now is a good time, if you had to go find an hour of time, getting on one call a week with me, how would you do it? Coaching with my team will actually give you more time. You're already over showing up. You're showing up in a way that's not effective. I'm going to make your time manageable because you're going to get results and you're going to have more time because of it. Time for our children on the spectrum, I believe, is more valuable than money because once the time is gone, we can't get it back. So we have to be strategic in how we're spending it to up-level our kids. There will never be a perfect time. You guys all know this, right? You're going to plan to come into the program and something's going to come up. Something will always come up. You have to make this a priority. We help you to create time and use the time you already have more effectively. And if you don't have time now, it's going to take even longer to get these skills for your baby on your own. Time is more valuable resource, the most valuable resource we have. We can't buy more of it. Knowing what it's costing you and your family, can you spare another second not getting this done now? If you're thinking, I need to think about it, it doesn't take time to make a decision. It takes information. We think that the longer we wait, the more information we'll have and we're going to feel better about making a decision, right? But in fact, the opposite happens. The longer you wait, the more you feel less confident, more uncertain, and more doubtful. The reason some decisions feel solid and certain is because our brain gives us that feeling when we've made a known decision. Remember, we talked a lot about the brain tonight. Your brain is going to be like, fuck this. This lady's crazy. You hear the way she's talking? You know she's going to turn our world upside down? Your brain's fucking right, I am. But there's a rainbow at the end of that. The life you're living now is just more of the same. Your brain's going to make decisions from the past, but that's giving you the life and the results you're living with now. Sitting and I need to think about it keeps you stuck and not taking action to help your baby now. Remember, time is more valuable than money. And it's the reason why you should join my program, because we coach you through the stuckness. Indecision is keeping you second guessing and losing precious time that you could be making progress. And it's the reason you have the results you have now with your child. Sitting on the fence thinking, I don't know, should I, shouldn't I, should I? When you're sitting on the fence thinking, oh, she mentioned it, but I just don't know. And maybe I'm not capable. Oh, but now it's not a good time. And my parents are coming in and the summer vacation's happening. And here you are, right, in this indecision loop. And here's your child standing in the corner waiting for somebody to take care of them. Make a decision. Give yourself the gift of a decision tonight. All of these thoughts are way more expensive than working with me. If you want new results, you have to make new and different decisions. If you're thinking, I've failed so many times, or I've tried everything, how will this be different? You haven't tried everything. If you imagine if you've ever lost your keys and gone on a hunt for them, and you always find them in the last place you look, you can hunt everywhere and they appear. It's always in the last place because that's when you've tried everything. Right now, you're in the second to last place. What if my program is your last place? What if there's no fails? You've tried things and it didn't work. It brought you here tonight to me. What if it was the reason you're here tonight? If you didn't have those fails, if you didn't have those experiences, those learns, I don't even call them fails. What if it was all meant to be to bring you here to your final stop? And where is the place you're going to find the key to unlocking an amazing future for your child? We work with you until you and your baby win. I do not quit. Make this time different. And I want to talk about unicorn syndrome because this comes up all the time too. Juliana's different than my child. Juliana was diagnosed moderate to severe on the spectrum. She lost her language. She was speaking. You saw it in the video. She was speaking and she lost it. We had to teach her sign language. She had to make sounds. You couldn't even understand her. I was so excited because I knew she was trying to say for goldfish. But she lost it and had to relearn it. The child's not a unicorn. My child has severe autism. Armando's mother was told he would never speak, that she should teach him sign language because he's never going to learn how to communicate. You wouldn't even know autism existed for Juliana or Armando if I didn't tell you that they're not unicorns. This is possible for your baby too. This works for other kids, but it won't work for mine. These are all the thought errors. This is all thought errors you're having. My child is broken. I'm broken. If I believe that, if autism is death to me, my child is broken, how am I going to potty train? You already believe you've failed before you've begun. There's nothing out there that will change the trajectory for my child. Unicorn syndrome is a self-preservation state. If I stay here and I never put myself out there to have these hopes and dreams for my baby, and when that doesn't happen, I can't be hurt. This is the brain in self-protection mode. We've talked about this tonight. If I don't put myself out there, if I don't join this program and fall on my face, I'll tell you something. My self-concept as an autism mom is stronger than most. And the reason why is because I believe that I have a high tolerance for mental, emotional, physical pain. I can take no's, I can take regression, I can take setbacks, and I get up and I ask for more. That wasn't something I was born with. I had to learn to become that identity. That's the identity of a parent that gets the results that I got for my daughter. That's the identity of Armando's mother. And that's the identity that you need to step into if you want these results for your child. Subconsciously, if I stay in unicorn syndrome, the self-preservation state, I can't risk trying and failing and I won't survive it. As a mother who has tried lots of shit that did not work, I can tell you I am living and breathing and I am okay. You will survive it. In fact, you have to survive it. The name of the game is the comeback. Not only when you're going to survive it, I'm going to bounce you so back fast, your head's going to spin. Champions for Our Children's the way. And sitting in I don't know or asking shitty questions with no real answers keeps you stuck and not taking action to help your baby now. Indecision is keeping you second guessing and losing precious time that you could be making progress. Nothing comes from an I don't know or a bullshit question you can't answer. Just decide. Decide you're not ready and won't do the work. Or decide you're nervous. Your brain is freaking out, but you're willing to go for it. Give yourself the gift of a decision tonight. Honor yourself and your child right now. If fears and worry are dominating your day and night, then join us. If there's something in you that identifies with what I've taught you today and it makes sense, take that leap of faith, join us. Saying yes tonight will have you and your baby moving forward tonight. Click the link to join me. All bonuses are gone at midnight, and the link is in the chat box and it's also in your inbox. And I'm going to take a quick water break and then we're going to get to Q&A.
This was the 7-year-old kid. He turned 7 in July, who will pee and pretty much poop in his pull-ups.
So we were not potty trained. We were not talking much. He wasn't able, if I told him to go get something, do any of those things.
Needless to say, the first day, it was like having a new puppy. She peed all day at school, everywhere. Potty training, we had tried it before. I really hit the ground running. When he turned 4.5, I'm like, okay, we're ready for this. Let's do it. And then he started showing some negative behaviors were causing self-harm and things. It just was a negative experience all around. And so at that point, it kind of became one of those big obstacles where it's like, okay, I know we need to do this eventually, but I don't want the same thing to happen again that already happened.
Yeah, I was a little skeptical because of how many times I have tried with Alexander. This is now my 5th time of attempting potty training with him.
And buying the pull-ups every day, it's not cheap.
How do I get him talking? How do I get him pooping in the potty? I have spent tens of thousands of dollars on recovering my son.
Our son was like in year 2 of potty training. He's 4 years old. He's autistic, and he had been hospitalized a couple of times because of potty training related issues.
But now we go outside and he's not in pull-ups because we've learned to let him use the bathroom.
He's awesome. He is fully potty trained now. We never in a million years thought that it would happen this early.
We're doing really, really well. Both are potty trained. I'd say 95% of the time, doing really, really well.
Said, all right, I made the right decision. I signed up right then and there. I knew in my heart that this was the place that I needed to be.
So this program encouraged me to, we can do it. So we did it. So we started 3 days.
Obviously, potty training is huge. Just a lot of things.
He's fully potty trained. We go everywhere, just in our undies. We don't have to worry about that.
And then the potty training. You helped me formulate the confidence in myself to realize I'm ready and to really go for it. And he's now potty trained, doing it on his own, taking himself. And it went so much better than I ever could have imagined.
He honestly now is 85% potty trained. Now and then he has some accidents, but he pretty much is able to go on his own.
It was within days after really, really trying it that he really was just like, okay, I'm gonna do this on my own.
You guys saved my family. How I got through as much as I did without you.
I'm so grateful for Michelle and her team and how much they helped boost my confidence and realize how I can advocate for my child.
I was scared I was going to be one of those parents that their child was not going to be potty trained.
We did a 3-day intensive, like you suggested, and Ezra is potty trained, 100% no accidents for P. 2 weeks ago, we completely removed the diapers in the night.
Yes, it's very exciting to have him potty trained, and that was our goal for school.
Everything, we got the service for him in 3 months. He's potty trained, he's more verbal.
He's potty trained. I take him to the potty, he pees. He has no accidents, and he loves going to the potty. There's no problematic behavior.
And we're lock in step. And I think because he's got the pooping down and he's very independent of the whole process.
You know, I started listening to the tips from Michelle, got involved in the course, and in the first couple of weeks, my son was fully potty trained.
He is like 3 million times further than where he was. And my mom's like, we have so much to thank them for. I was like, I know, Mom.
So I will recommend you to anybody, whoever is out there that's confused, thinking there's no help, and they are all by themselves. No, not all by themselves. Get with Michelle, and she will get you to take the baby steps.
Take this course, you know, do the one-on-ones, listen and absorb everything that this team has to offer, because it has been absolutely life-changing for me.
Absolutely. Hands down of everything we've done. This has been the best thing. This was the most support and all the way around.
You guys have a gift. And you're sharing it, and that's amazing.
100%. I do recommend it because all weeks when I come here for any of the calls, you learn something new.
This is going to help you. You can learn through other parents' experiences. You can, have some camaraderie with people that are going through the same thing as you are.
You'd be crazy to not get in this program if you have concerns about your child, even if you don't want to go after a diagnosis.
Absolutely. And I have already been recommending Champions for Our Children.
It's amazing. I can't recommend the program enough.
Yeah, definitely. You guys need to do this program. It'll change you guys and your child's life tremendous.
Just do it. Don't hold back. Just go all in with your daughter or your son. And I promise you will definitely see results. Because truly, I'm not gonna lie, I was skeptical for a little while. I waited. I really kind of went over the program a few times. I'm like, I don't know if I can do this, but it was totally worth the sacrifice of me as a very active mom. Sitting in the bathroom is not for me, and I did it. And I'm very proud of myself for developing the patience that I have with her.
And I just have to say that last mom, she's hysterical because when we first, she potty trained with my program, and I think barely ever came on calls or came on with her camera. So when we did the testimony, she came on, she had like these jacked arms. I'm like, I love you. I'd like to have arms that way. She's like one of those like models that does the bodybuilding. That's hysterical. It's so funny, the people I've come in contact with. I'm like, if autism wasn't our common denominator, we would never be friends. But I love it. I love meeting all different types of people. It's hysterical. All right, so let's talk about some coaching tonight. Who wants to get some one-on-one support and love from I have Courtney. We're gonna go first. So here are the rules. Oh, actually, before we do this, Jen, are we ready to do Wheel of Names?
Yes.
All right, we're gonna do Wheel of Names. So everybody who's been here, we're ready to start Q&A. We're gonna do Wheel of Names. That means anybody whose name gets popped up, you're gonna win a free session with me. Are you ready to go? Jen? Jen's getting the wheel ready to go. There she goes. All right, all your names are on this wheel. She's gonna hit the button. Whoever's name pops up, you're going to send an email to michelle@michellebrodgers.com, and we're going to schedule your free session. And who is it? It is Ashton Mettler. Ashton Mettler, if you are still here, you are going to email. Yes, they are. Ashton Mettler, put it in the chat box for them, Jen. Michelle@michellebrodgers.com. You are going to get a private session with Ma. I hope I don't terrify you too much. Okay, I'm just kidding. I'm actually wonderful. All right, this is what gets it done, folks. Okay, it's not the mousy, it's the boss. All right, we're gonna teach you how to have your boss voice. All right, if you want to be coached on screen with me tonight, you need good audio. You need to be in a quiet place. I would love to see your face, and you have to have good internet. Okay, I'm gonna start with Courtney first. Courtney Champion -G. You can see I'm going to promote you to panelist. Your screen is going to blink and you will come on and we will just potty chow down. Potty chow on potty. Feeling a little flippy tonight. Okay, I'm going to let's read one question here. How do you handle it? How do you handle it in the car line if no diapers are gone? I'm not sure what that question is, but you do not take them out of diapers when they go back to school if they're not getting 80% or better. So if they're not 80% potty trained or better, then you don't send them back to school. If you think school is going to potty train your child, that would be a very sad misconception. Most will not. They want you to take the lead, and they'll pick up where you leave off once you have some decent success. Okay. All right. Courtney, are you ready to talk?
I'm here.
Hi, Courtney. How are you?
Okay.
Have you enjoyed tonight?
Yes.
How can I help you, Courtney?
Actually, I'm a first time joiner.
Okay.
I have one who just turned 3 and she was a little like yours. She was talking at like 15 months old. Then we noticed when a big situation happened, she quit talking, and then when she come back with me, she just wouldn't talk at all. So we were doing some things with her, and the school that she got accepted into was a early Head Start program.
Okay.
And they started doing sign language and stuff with her. We were doing sign language here, and now she is actually talking a lot on her own.
Amazing. I love it.
And now we're trying to work more with potty training, but that's our big success. She's not wanting to do that.
All right. So what's her name? Your 3-year-old?
Aubrey.
Aubrey. Okay. And what have you tried for Aubrey?
I mean, we've just tried underwear all day. We've tried like rewards with her. We've tried hiding the diapers and stuff and telling her they're going bye-bye, and it's just not working.
All right. And what happens? Is she ever eliminated on the toilet or no?
She does once in a blue moon.
Once in a blue moon.
Which I think a lot of the problem was when she's here, we would keep her in underwear, but when she would go to school, considering she wasn't like fully potty trained, they would have to put her in a diaper.
Yeah, and that's understandable. All right. So what do you think the problem is? Why do you think that she's not getting it?
I mean, I don't know. The doctor seems to think she's got I think it was stage 2 spectrum autism.
Okay. So we've got you've got a couple of things going on here. We talked about thoughts tonight. I don't know is a rough one, because I don't know is a log jam. If I believe like I can't figure out the solve, then there's nowhere else left to go. So we don't allow anybody to really say, I don't know. If the first thing that came to your mind, that she's obviously a smart girl, she's done it a few times. She knows that you're hiding diapers on her. She knows that, eventually they come back, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think the problem is? Like, if you had to guess, like, why is she not using the toilet?
I mean, I think it could be maybe because they're putting her on her at school. Maybe it could be because when she's going with my mom's keeping her in them. I mean,
what about you?
It could be a lot of things there.
Yeah. What about you?
Oh, I won't put her in a diaper except at night.
You only put her in a diaper except at night?
Yep.
Always?
No, not always, actually. There for about a week, she was doing it like all day and all night, and then she quit just randomly.
Yeah, I know. So like when she quit randomly, when she made the decision of, listen, I'm not doing this anymore, then what happened?
I kind of had to fall back to the diapers. That was my big mistake.
Yeah, and that's interesting, right? Because you made it seem like you didn't have a choice and that you decided to fall back to the diapers. So this is where I want to show everybody like where thought work is really the gatekeeper to the progress. For her, the potty training is optional in your home. She doesn't have to do it. And she knows that because eventually if she holds out, diapers reappear. And I know you want to say, well, they're going to do diapers at school. That must be it. Well, she spends more time with you than she does at school. So if she always knows at some point these are going to come back into her life, then there's no value to learning. Do you see that?
Yeah.
So if I wanted to create value, this is some of the questions that came up in the Q&A, in the written Q&A, where somebody will say, well, I just don't think that they just have no desire to want to learn. Nobody does. No child has a desire. If they can shit and poop, piss and poop their pants and you could clean them, they don't care. That works for them. We have to create a world where that doesn't work and there's high desire to learn a new way to do it. So if we think about your daughter, we have two things we've got to work on. First is we've got to make it so that if we're committed to potty training her, that this is it. She goes nowhere. When we're doing, what I would do with her is I do an intensive. The idea here is that they're gone. They're going to be gone for several days, the diapers. The only time they would come on is during nap time, if she's still getting naps, or bedtime. And it's a non-negotiable. She can piss through 10, 20 pairs of underwear. You're committed that these are gone. These are no longer an option for her anymore. So that's number one. Number two is I want to give her a desire. She already knows how to do this. She's done it a few times. She just needs to understand why she'd want to do it more. So what would be a reward, an amazing reward you could give her to make her want to do this?
When she was doing it, we would give her like her favorite gummies.
Okay.
And then if she would go number 2 on the potty, she would get like a certain amount of money, and if she got that within the week, then she would get to choose where she wanted to go eat.
All right, so we got rewards for gummies and money, right?
Yep.
Okay. So with the gummies, does she get gummies at any other time?
Mm-mm.
She only gets them for pottying.
Mm-hmm.
On a scale from 1 to 10, what would you say her desire is for gummies?
Oh, she loves them.
Oh, yeah. Well, like on a scale from 1 to 10, where would you put them?
Probably about like a 9.
Why didn't you give it a 10?
Because, I mean, there's days she does, days she don't.
So would that be enough? If I want her to use the toilet every day, is this going to be the reward that's going to get that done?
Probably
if someday
not.
she'll like it. Yeah, exactly. Right. So what I want to think about is in her life, there's got to be something that she loves, that she'd do anything to have access to. When I describe it like that, what comes to mind?
Ice cream.
Ice cream. On a scale from 1 to 10, where would you put ice cream?
10.
And why did you give it a 10?
Because, I mean, that's just something she likes.
Like she'd do anything to have it.
Oh, yeah.
So if you had ice cream, let's say we replace the gummies for the ice cream. I'm not talking about we give her a full-on sundae every time she pees in the potty. We could get like little mini ice cream cones. We can get little bonbons. We could give her a little scoop. If she got that every time she went pee on the potty, would you think that would make her want to do it again?
Probably.
And again, right?
Probably.
Exactly. What we're doing now is that we're creating desire to not do it here. Nobody like just desires one day to shit on a toilet. They have to see the value in it. You and I, our value, our desire to do it is that if we don't go in the toilet, we shit our pants, it's on our clothes, we got to stop what we're doing. We're going to have to take a shower. We're going to have to clean up the mess. That's the value in going is very clear to us. To a child who we clean up after does not see it like that. They have to learn to see it like that. So until they can learn to see it like you and I see it for the value it brings, we have to show them by giving them a reward that's worth doing it for. Does it make sense?
Yep.
And the other thing you have here is money is for the poop. She is 3 years old. She may like to hold the money. She may like to count the money. But if we want this to be a immediate connection, when you go poop, you get this. If she's getting money, she's not getting that immediate gratification of like why I'd want to do this now. it's nice to have, and we kick it around. I gotta have her making the connection that the reward is because of the poop and no other reason. So the same thing would apply here. You could do an extra scoop of ice cream, an extra bonbon, 2 mini ice creams for poop. You could come up with maybe a going to the ice cream shop. Do you see how you can really change the desires here?
Yeah.
You could get her a special spoon and a special bowl, and every time she goes, you could bring out all the sundae toppings. She could put a little on each. You know what I mean? You could really make this an exciting adventure. This is why potty training can be fun. It can be fun for both of you if you can make it so that the desire is high to want to do it. What are your thoughts?
Probably add an extra scoop.
There you go. Exactly. Was this helpful? Did this help you give me some ideas to get this done?
Yeah, actually it did. I didn't have this trouble with my older one.
Yeah, no. All our babies are unique, but I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions, okay?
Okay.
All right, I'll talk to you soon. All right, let's take Justice Barrett. You are next. Do some fast coaching. I want to get to a lot of you. How do you handle, already did that one. Next one. My non-speaker 10-year-olds can't tell us when that they want to go to the potty. They can initiate on AAC in a picture. At home he goes himself, but outside it's hard. We have to take him. So if he is a pre-verbal baby, we want to be able to give him the ability to communicate potty outside the home. So if the AAC device should be with him at all times, if it's his talker. So if we're not in that habit, we want to make sure we get into the habit of using the AAC device outside the home as well as inside the home. The more you create fluency around a bridge form of communication, like the AAC device, the faster they'll make sounds, the faster you'll get vocal language. Okay. Hi, Justice. How are you?
Hi. So my son is 5. They have not been able to diagnose like how far he is on the spectrum yet.
But he is officially diagnosed?
You know, he is officially diagnosed. So he is, hold on, honey. No, can you say hi?
Hi.
So he is very verbal. He wasn't until last year. He has been in all the therapies. He's in occupational therapy. He's been in speech therapy since he was 2.5. He's actually graduating his special education preschool that he's been in since he was 3. So he's doing tremendous things other than the potty training.
Okay.
We potty train. He has no problem peeing in the potty. He is disgusted by his poop. And he goes in there with me, and when I do it, he flushes the toilet, he chants for me. He knows what to do. He understands everything.
So he's not disgusted by your poop. He's disgusted by his poop or all poop?
His poop.
Not disgusted at your poop?
No, he could be. Maybe it's also not in underwear or in a pull-up.
All right, now I'm going to ask you. He's disgusted by his poop, right? Is he a sit to pee, or does he sit to pee or stand?
He sits. Well, just depends. He uses urinals as well. It just pee is not.
Say what's the breakdown percentage wise? 80-20 urinals?
It's probably 80-20 urinals. Yeah, urinals are more at his school where I don't have one of those. So yeah, he definitely sits down.
All right. So why do you think he's disgusted to pee? To poop? What's giving you that thought?
Because when he will hold his poop until I put on a pull-up for nighttime, and then he just lets it go. And every time, hold on, he comes to me and he is just like, gross. And he tells me I need a butt change. And I'm like, you're not supposed to go in your pull-up. You need to go in the potty. And he just gets so upset because he has a shitty diaper, and there's nothing I have tried.
This is so good. You're going to help so many people tonight. Your brain is presenting to you a thought error. And the thought error is that he's disgusted by the sight of poop. I was like, he's disgusted by your poop? No, his poop. Okay, why do you think that? And then you gave me a scenario. So let me just go, before I tell you what I think the problem is, I want you to tell me, this is why thought work is so important, everybody. This is why thoughts are the gatekeepers. This thought she's having is the reason why he's not potty trained. When you think that your baby is disgusted by poop, how does that make you feel?
Almost annoyed because he's fine with it any other time in the bathroom, like with mine. Even the dog, when the dog poops, he's okay, but when it's him, he just goes ew, ew, like he just does not want it on him.
It says ew, got it. Okay. So you feel annoyed that he's disgusted by his poop, and and you feel it's selective because it's just his poop, correct?
Yes, and it might just be because it's in his diaper on his butt, to be honest.
Okay, in his diaper on his butt. Yeah, okay, got it.
I mean that I would be disgusted by it as well.
All right,
I just don't know how to move on from that.
All right, so this is what we call a model in my program. This is mindset work. This is mindset 101, what we're doing here. And what we want to do is kind of show you your thought and how it's creating the result of a not potty trained child, right?
Yeah.
What's happening here is that you believe he is disgusted by poop. That is a thought error. But because you believe that through and through, that makes you feel annoyed. And when you feel annoyed, what action are you going to take to potty train when you're feeling annoyed?
Obviously, I'm going to show him frustration.
You're going to show him frustration. And how are you, like, what kind of action are you going to actually take to get him potty trained if you're annoyed?
I mean, I'll just end up changing his diaper, to be honest.
You'll end up not potty training, right?
Yeah.
And the result is he's not
potty trained.
See what happens here, guys? That's why the key to everything I teach is in your mind first. She already knows what she needs to do, but because she has this thought that she's been thinking over and over and over again, and she believes it, it makes her feel annoyed. The action she takes is she just change the pull-up because I'm so annoyed. I'm not even in a mood to want to do anything to help him potty train. And the result is more of the same. So I'm going to show you exactly what's going on here. It's not that he's disgusted to poop is the reason why this isn't happening. The reason it's happening because he always gets put back in a diaper. That's it. If I know that the diaper is coming, I'm just going to shit my pants. She's pretty night. So as long as I wait for it, she gives it to me, and then she's gonna change me. I have to do nothing, just lay there, and she changes me. He's walking around like a king there. But all this time, your brain puts you on the wrong path with this. If I want you to think about, and I always say this to parents too, if autism wasn't a part of the equation, and now you just had a 5-year-old that wasn't potty trained, what would you do?
I don't want to say I don't know because I feel like I don't know. I'm not there.
Acceptable in your home.
No, it's not acceptable now. It's
5-year-old shit is like adult-sized shit. We're done with that. No way. He's showing you every which way that he's capable. He's choosing to poop in a diaper because it's allowed in your home. And you're allowing it. You all are allowing behaviors like this because you've given them a pass because of autism. He's capable of using a urinal. Capable of pooping on a potty.
Yeah. Okay.
So what you
Thank
need to do here, yes, no worries, no problem. We're not done yet. So what we need to do here is we want to acknowledge some truths that you have shared. Truths are like when we want to understand, because she believed this is law. Like she could say, listen, anyone who met him would think he's disgusted by his poop. You know what I mean? That's how bad she believes it is truth. We got to understand that the thoughts our brains present us, they're always a lot of drama. That's how you know they're bullshit. He's disgusted by his poop. Shell, he says, ew. And he's so gross. You see all the drama? Like it's so like, dramatic. When it's real, like when it's like fact of law, like I always say, like I said this to one of the questions in the thing. If you saying that he's disgusted by poop, could I submit that as evidence in a court of law? Would everyone I say that this is how he reacts, would they all agree with me? No, it's a thought error. So when we have these, we want to look at the truth of our circumstance here, which is every time he shits himself, he's back in a diaper. Diapers are still optional. Like potty training is optional in our home. He's always going to have access to diapers. So that's why it hasn't happened. And 80% of the time he stands to pee. So he's probably not super comfortable sitting on the toilet.
Oh, so 80% he sits to pee. Sorry, the 20 was the urinal.
80% or 20%. All right, better yet. So first thing you want to make sure is if he doesn't, you got to make sure he's cool to sit. Cool to sit isn't like I sit and I pop back up, or I sit for a second and pop out. He's got to be able to sit for 3 to 5 minutes, enough for a pee or poop to pass.
Okay.
Okay. So if you haven't gotten that yet, like if he's going real quick and popping back up, you'll tell, just like you thought he was disgusted to be, you'll tell when they're anxious sitting. And if they're anxious and it seems like they're bouncing around or they can't wait to get out of there, that's a sign of like a little bit of potty phobia. We want to make sure that he doesn't have that. Then you want to come up with an amazing reward for him, Justice, something that he would do anything to have access to. Can you think of something that he would absolutely love in exchange for a shit in the toilet?
Yeah, so his thing is he loves bubbles. So when we first started the peeing thing, he was able to get like a little mini bubbles. And then I bought him, okay, hold on. I bought him a bubble camera that he is not allowed to play with until he poops in the toilet.
On a scale from 1 to 10, how much desire do you think he has for that bubble camera?
Oh, 10. Bubbles just thrill him.
How long has he been offered the bubble camera for pooping?
So he's had the bubble camera for at least 6 months, but he's never been able to play with it.
Yeah, so why do you think it's a 10? Would he like it? Yeah.
Yeah, so
to have access to, sure.
Yeah, so he has never been able to play with it. We played with it, but then I was like, oh, this is the best thing. He loves this thing. And so
yeah, he loves it, but he doesn't love it enough to shit in the toilet. That's how you know it's not the right thing. That's another thing. That's so fascinating. She's had this thing on the shelf for 6 months, thinking this was a random reward. One of these days, he's going to shit in the toilet for this. One of these days. And if she keeps this, she never thinks about what other rewards could be even more valuable than this bubble camera. So think about what he interacts with every day, something he loves, he'd do anything for.
I don't know, because he's so spoiled.
Oh, he's so spoiled. All right, so I want you to think these are the thought errors, right? Either there's too many things that they have access to, or there's nothing to motivate my child. So now when we have the thought error that he's spoiled and there's nothing that motivates him because he has access to everything, what does that mean to your brain?
That he probably shouldn't have access to everything like he does.
No, it means to your brain that there is no reward system that will work. And that's a problem, right? So you have to say, listen, if I believe that there's no reward system, no reward that'll work because he has access to everything, how do I solve for that problem?
I've got to think outside the box and find
You've got to
something
start
that
withholding some items that you think are high desire and see if withholding them creates desire enough that you'd be willing to do anything to have access to them again. And I also want to think for anybody, I spoil my kids too. I ain't saying anything about a spoiler. I love spoiling children, but I don't spoil to the point where I can't teach them.
where you don't have anything to use.
By letting him have everything he needs without him even having the desire to want it.
Okay.
Same thing for parents who think they don't have it, their child's not motivatable. If I believe that, I'm never going to present anything new to the child to see if there is something that they could like. It's a thought error. The more you think about it, when you play this back and you watch, you're going to realize that the real problems with him not potty training have nothing to do with the tactile, it's all with your thoughts. And if we can start changing your thoughts, you're going to see him potty train very fast.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Was that helpful?
Yes, it was.
Right,
I guess maybe to hear where I'm messing up.
No worries, no worries. All right, well, keep me posted. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
All right, no problem. This is what we do. Bye-bye. This is what we do in the masterclass. I do this all day long. We want to show you your thoughts. Your thoughts are the gatekeeper to the progress that your baby can have. This is what we're going to do if you join my masterclass. You're going to have access to me. You're going to have access to a mindset coach every week. She's going to show you how your thoughts are stopping you from having progress for your baby. It's so powerful. You have your mind. This is my quote. Your mind is like a furnace. It can either warm your house or burn it down. You have to keep it in check. You have to keep it on the path that's going to get progress for your baby. All right, I am going to do Molly McLaughlin. Last one of the night. 8 minutes. We're going to do some fast coaching. Do they have to stay in a pull-up or can you do panties? She is 10 years old. She pulls her pull-ups off if she pees or poops. Then why is she in pull-ups? Because she's not even peeing or pooping in her pull-ups. She should be in underwear. I need to know more, Zoom user. Hi, Molly. How are you? Oh, you're on mute, honey.
My gosh, I didn't think you would get to me, to be honest with you. So I'm like, okay.
I'm trying. I'm not getting to everybody. You're my last for the night. But hi, Molly. How are you?
Hi, pretty good. How are you doing? So I have a 9-year-old nephew with autism, and his mother passed away last year, and I'm trying to kind of work with him on the whole potty training issue. And my biggest question is kind of like, I mean, I guess when it comes to showing him how it's done, he has a clinician right now who seems to think he can't or isn't really connecting going to the bathroom and when he has to go, and like kind of associating the two things. And same with the school, like you had said, they were kind of like, yeah, well, we really can't do it. Like if he comes here with stuff, we can work with it, but they don't really have much else to tell us. So I guess kind of starting off with like, what's the best way to get him to do the whole, sitting on the toilet. Like the other day actually was the first time I went into his room and I didn't realize that I thought he was taking off his pull-ups after he pooped and like being like, oh, this is gross, putting that away and like, throwing off to the side. But I walked in, he was just straight up squatting over the carpet and pooping. So I was, oh gosh, okay. And I was like, oh, buddy, like, let's go to the toilet. And I got him over the toilet. He sat down and he just immediately was just kind of like, oh, and then he flushed the toilet and stood up because he's worked on to a certain degree, and so we were basically just trying to figure out what's the best way to kind of get him to that point where he can't just sit down and just give it a try, just things like that.
Is he in your care full time?
My parents are his guardian and I just moved in with them to kind of help out and there as well. So I'm his aunt.
Okay, so you're living there with them now, right?
Yep.
For the time being, you're going to be there, or how long are you going to be there for that? Okay, all right, guys. The reason I asked this, so I have practitioners that are on. I love sharing my methods with everybody so they can help families. But when I'm dealing with a family directly, you have to be there, because if you're not there to do it and you leave it to your parents and they're not seeing it through, then it won't stick. So that's for anybody who's here. I've had babysitters that were saying they were coming on to them like, I love that a babysitter's so motivated to get the kids they babysit the potty train. Where are their parents? They got to be here too. Okay. So I'm sorry for your loss with his mom. Must be very challenging for her to be gone. So I want to send my condolences for that. All right. So the first thing we want to do with him is we want to get him comfortable with sitting first. So at 9 years old, I'm not even going to go through the potty readiness signs with you. He's 9 years old. It's just time.
Yeah, I know it's time.
He's got the signs, because you know how we know. He took his diaper off and he was squatting to shit on the carpet. So that's how we know he's ready. He doesn't want to do it in his pants. He wants to just do it somewhere else so his pants can stay clean. So that's a very strong sign that he's ready to potty train. That's number one. Number two is we want to get him comfortable with just sitting first. A lot of times everyone jumps right to the potty training and they've never gotten the sitting down. You saw when you put him on there, he felt really weird. You know what happens when you sit? You got like that big, like, you feel like space on, right? If you think about your ass on a seat, right? You feel like this big space. We don't notice it anymore because we're just so used to it, but it feels scary. You feel like maybe you'd fall in, right? So when you're not familiar, right? When you haven't sat there often. So that's why sitting is very important. You want to get them sitting first. So we get them to sit first. We want to start with like a reward for sitting. So you can think about a sticker, bubbles, piggyback ride, balloons, outside time, anything you can think of that would be a nice reward for just getting him to sit. So when you ask him to sit and he'll sit, let's say he'll sit for like 20 seconds. Then I set a timer on my clock and I say, okay, when this timer goes off and you're going to set it for 5 seconds more, I'm going to give you a cookie. I'm going to give you a snack, whatever the case may be. And then you kind of sit with them, play with them, and you're going to just keep building out that time, 5 to 10 seconds each time until you get the desired result.
Okay.
And then once he's sitting for 3 to 5 minutes, enough for a pee or poop to happen, then we can start potty training.
Yeah, and I've noticed, so the one thing I will say is that when he gets in the tub, you know, with I don't know if it's the warm water or the hearing of the sound of it or whatever, but that's when I notice he will pee, and I'll be like, oh, look, you're peeing, you know, like, you know, that kind of trying to hopefully acknowledge the fact that he can make the association between what he's doing and
Yeah.
where he's
Yeah, I
going.
love that. I love your energy too, because you're not being an asshole about like, what the fuck, dude? You're not supposed to go in the tub. So, or what the fuck, you're shitting on the floor. You got to be shitting in the toilet. Your energy is light and easy for him. I like that. But like, I want you to start to, if you're starting to make the connection that every time I run the water right before bath, he's going to go, then that's when I sit him. You see
Okay.
what I'm saying? Because now he's probably going to go.
Yep.
But like,
Yep.
but I don't do that until he's neutral to sitting. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So it does. Yeah. And on that question again, another question I have is maybe like potty seat stuff. You know, I mean, like if there
Potty
was
what? A potty
like
seat?
potty seats, like, I mean, so he's got just like the regular old toilet, you know, where like you said, like if he sits
Yeah,
back.
you want to feel him out. Like my daughter's 10 and she can sit on a toilet comfortably, but he might still be really nervous about it because he's not used to sitting. So even if you wanted to get an insert, that would be fine. I don't know how big he is for 9. So it's really a preference thing. If you feel like he'll be fine, he just needs more reps to get more comfortable, then let's just keep going and just start, gently increasing the time. If you do this right, you can get it done over a couple of days where you can get him from 20 seconds to 3 minutes. And
I mean,
then
like
he'll
you,
be ready to go.
yeah, it's definitely, you know, time, that's for sure. And that's
Yeah,
kind of,
yeah. It's gonna take some like this. There's the forcing them method, which will not get you the result, right? Where they're kicking and screaming, you're holding them down, or it's we're gently easing into the idea of like, listen, sitting is fine, sitting is safe. Nothing's gonna happen if you sit. It's comfortable to sit on, right? So the idea here is just to kind of build his tolerance for like this new thing and this new place. And honestly, once you get that, he'll probably be, and then now that you've already got a system where if you run the bath, he's going to go, that's one great opportunity to be immediately putting him on the toilet before he goes in the bath, because the bath is a reward, right? He likes to go in the bath.
I mean, he does. Usually he's been kind of a tricky fella lately. So he hasn't really wanted to go in the tub lately, but usually when he's in, he doesn't want to come out. So
yeah, exactly. So what we want to do is like, if it's a little tricky, you could always add bubbles. You could get the water crayons. Make it so that it's more desirable. The idea here is to, increase desire to want to use the toilet, right? So what we want to do is once we get him sitting neutrally, then what we want to do is we want to get him to actually like want to pee and poop by giving him the presentation of a high desire. I would do anything to have access to thing. What would that be?
I've heard it already, but ice cream, and that's like his big ice cream. I know he'll say it. It's his job. A chocolate chip cookie, probably.
Love it. All of these things. These are fabulous. Yes. So you could go out, get a cool little bowl, get cool ice cream. You get the mini ice cream. You have to give him a whole sundae every time he goes. The idea is just to give him a little, get him excited. But then he doesn't have ice cream any other time. That's how we pair ice cream specific to potty training. You can have ice cream anytime you want. You just got to pee on the toilet.
Okay.
And then pooping, I'd up the ante.
Okay.
And in the meantime, you guys are going to get this tonight. It's the last page of the PDF. It'll be your toilet training data sheet. You'll keep track of when he's dry, wet, to have his bowel movement. He's totally ready. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. A lot of times practitioners will tell you your child's not ready because they don't want to teach them. Let's speak straight up.
I mean, that's where I'm getting a little lost, because it seems like no one wants to. I mean,
nobody's ever going to be like, what's so fun? Well, I actually don't care. I would do it. I don't have any issue with it. I've gone to people's houses and pie. It's really bullshit though, because if I could feed you a fish and you eat for the day, right? Or I could teach you to fish and you will be able to teach this child anything. Yeah. So I charge a stupid amount of money to go to somebody's house to potty train, but it's really stupid because you never learn anything.
Yeah,
that's the idea here. If you're going to be with him, and you guys too, everybody here are going to be raising these children. Potty training, I love it. For a lot of you, potty training is like that first step to getting your belief back that, oh my God, autism isn't this deathly disease. Autism, you can have it and live an amazing life. And when you see that you can potty train your child, you start feeling that way. For me, it was the opposite. It was sign language. When she used the first sign for cookie, I was fucking floored. I thought up until that point, she didn't understand one word I was saying. Yeah. So I was holy fuck, that was like the beginning for me that started bringing my baby back to me, because she had to find me to show me the sign. And before, she could just spend hours spinning toys and drooling and messing with her iPad. Now she was hungry. She had to come find me to give me the sign for what she needed. That was my catalyst. That was like, that really got my jets going. I was already like, I was determined. I'm like, I could cure this. I could do something, right? I was doing all these things. But when I saw that, I was like, that was like fucking jet fuel to my backpack. And that's what this is going to be for all of you if you teach your babies this. And I know he's not your baby, but he might as well be your baby, because his mommy's not here anymore, and your parents need you and he needs you. So I'm very touched that you're willing to be here tonight for them, and you'll get this done for him, no doubt in my mind. You need any help, you give me a reach out.
I thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm a little lost in this realm just because I actually work with kids of all different like disabilities, but potty training, I don't have kids of my own. That's like the one thing where I'm like, I don't really know. So
yeah, but you're not like ill fucking disgusting either. So that's really good.
No, of course not. I mean, I mean,
no, but most people are.
Yeah, no, I mean, the time with the carpet incident, I was a little shocked, but I tried really hard.
Exactly, right? It's dark, you walk in, it's not like a dog shitting on the carpet, it's a human.
No, it was definitely different. But I try not to give the reaction. I was kind of like, oh boy, okay, like let's go on the toilet.
You're gonna be a potty whisperer in no time. I know it.
Oh man, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No problem. Keep me posted. Was this helpful?
Absolutely. This is a huge help. I've been here the whole time.
All right, awesome. You have a good night. You let me know how it works out, all right?
Thank you so much. You too.
All right, bye-bye. All right, that's a wrap for Potty Power. I hope tonight was helpful, informative. Listen, if you love this, you can have it for 5 months. You can have it for 5 months. If you sign up for the program tonight, I will be in your corner. This will get done. Not just this, we can get communication. We can stop those problem behaviors. We can get them to stop eloping. We can get them to stop being aggressive. You name it, I've got it covered in the masterclass. Join me. All the bonuses are away. Midnight. You have until midnight tonight. Kisses, everybody.